All right, welcome to another San Diego housing market update. Today, I'm going to be answering the top questions being asked right now. Questions like, is San Diego real estate overvalued? And is San Diego at risk of a big downturn given today's high prices? Hey, my name is Jesse Morrison, and I'm going to explain why I expect that between now and July of 2024, that the average house that comes to the market in San Diego will sell in a quick 13 days, maybe slightly more, that the average house will, sell for more than the seller's asking price, and that the median sales price, which just broke the highest levels in San Diego's history at like $1.1 million, should peak over the next 90 days. But one quick thing before getting started, I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the description section below. That way you can, book a call directly on my calendar, so that if you're looking to make a move, whether you're 9 days or 9 months out, we can talk about your next best steps to making that happen in today's market. The link will take you directly to my website, where you'll click this big green button and then just choose a day and a time that work best for you. And then tell me what you need help with, whether you need to sell your house, buy a new one, or both. Okay, let's get into it. All right, so the first thing we're gonna wanna do is check out the general trends. Okay, we're gonna zoom out to see what the San Diego housing market, looks like from more of a macroeconomic perspective, so that we know what direction home values are, trending overall. And how we do that is we're gonna look at supply and demand. What this does is it shows us, current economics as it relates to our housing market. So what we've been able to determine is that when we have less than 6 months worth of inventory, we are in a seller's market. And when we have more than 6 months worth of inventory, we're in a buyer's market. So what this basically means is we measure supply and demand in real estate based off of months worth of inventory. So if there's 100 houses for sale in San Diego County, and on average 25 houses sell every single month, then it would take 4 months to deplete that inventory down to zero. And at that case, we'd say we'd have a 4-month supply. So right here on this left-hand side of this chart, right, are the months worth of supply. And right here is 6 months. And so that is the magic barrier, right? When we dip below 6 months worth of inventory, that means there's not enough supply out there to meet the demand. And therefore we're in the seller's market and the sellers are in control. And when we have too much inventory, when we have more than 6 months of supply out there, then we enter into the red territory, which is the buyer's market. So the question becomes, well, where are we now? Well, we're right here. We have 1.7 months of inventory, which means we are very strong into that seller's market territory. So what do values do related to that inventory? This shows us, what value trends do as it relates to the housing inventory. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna overlay that seller's market where, there's less than 6 months of supply. And when we do that, we can see that in a seller's market, values trend up, right? So I'm gonna bring in my cursor here. Values go up every time we're in this green seller's market. And then when we put in the buyer's market, when there's more than 6 months of inventory out there, then we can see that, values come down. That means values will continue to rise until inventory is above that 6 month mark. One more thing to note about this is, see how this graph here, it moves in a jagged line. It's not like the straight red arrow. The actual graph has its ebbs and flows. And therefore, we need to not just look at the general trends, we have to look at seasonal trends. And what we're gonna do is when we zoom in to the San Diego housing market, we can see how the market trends from more of a seasonal perspective. That way we can gain insights on what's expected over the next 90 days and what that will look like. So the first thing that we're gonna look at is the days to sell. This is the median, the monthly median market time. And what it does is it shows us, how long it typically takes to sell a house here in San Diego. And the reason why we want to look at this particular graph first is because it's the most important factor. It's what I call like a key performance indicator. When homes sell fast, they typically sell for more. And if homes take longer to sell, then that typically is a bad sign for home values, in which case they'll start coming down. So next question becomes, where are we now? And can we see any kind of trends within this kind of weird looking graph over time, right? On the left-hand side of this graph are the days on market, and then this is over time over the last 5 years. Well, when we overlay these green boxes, this is January as it approaches June, okay? This is a 5-month window over time. And when we overlay these boxes, the trend lines become very obvious, right? So you can see that homes take less time as January approaches June, right? It peaks in January, and homes start selling faster as we approach June. And when we overlay these red boxes, this is as June approaches the next January. So it's that following 7-month window. And in the red, it takes longer, right? Homes, gradually take longer and longer to sell, or they're slower to sell over time as January approaches the following June. So when we overlay this 90-day window from May to July, we can see that we are in this last phase of the cycle where homes would typically sell at the fastest point for the year. And right now, homes are selling in 13 days. So I would expect that homes will sit on the market for 13 days, maybe a little bit more. I mean, because look, here in this graph here, in that 90-day window, sometimes it goes up a little bit towards as we get closer towards the end of that box. But for the most part, homes will be selling for the fastest or in the shortest amount of time for this year. All right, so the next graph that we're gonna look at is this sale to list price ratio. And this is the monthly median sales price as a percentage of the original listing price. So you can see on the left-hand side of this chart, we have percentages. 100% means that a home sells for exactly 100% of the asking price. And if the graph dips below 100%, then buyers are able to get a slight discount. And as the graph goes above 100%, that means that buyers are willing to pay slightly more than the seller's asking price. Right? So in other words, it's going to show us how aggressive buyers are with relationship to that listing price. And when we put that 5-month window on there from January to from January to June, then we can kind of see the trends, right? From January to June, you can see that buyers gradually get more aggressive with their offers. And in that 7-month window from June to the following January, that's when buyers kind of, get more steady or maybe even less aggressive with their offers throughout the rest of the year. So we're in that later part of the seasonal cycle where, buyers become most aggressive with their offers for the year. So between, May and July, I would expect that, buyers will continue to be very, very aggressive. And right now, homes are selling for 100.2% of their asking price. So if buyers are continuing to be very aggressive moving forward, I would expect that homes will sell for just over asking price moving forward. All right, and then the final graph that we're going to look at today is the cyclical values. This is the monthly median sales price, and it shows us, what season values typically go up, down, or sideways. And on the left-hand side of this graph are the median sales prices, and again, this is over time, over the last 5 years. And when we overlay that 5-month window as January approaches June, it becomes very clear that, our home values in San Diego, they kind of operate like a stair step. They're not this straight line, right? They're like, they go up, they come over, they go up, they come over, they go up, like a stair, right? But when we look at the red from June to the following January, not only is it a stair, sideways, but sometimes you might see that values come down or slightly come down for the remainder of the year. And this is the tricky part. This is the part where it tricks the market, where people start asking the question, are home prices dropping? Is San Diego in this bubble? Are we in an immediate danger where prices are gonna fall off a cliff? You're gonna start seeing headlines out there where, they use scare tactics to make you think that there's gonna be a housing crash here in San Diego. And we can't necessarily predict the future, but when you look at this, you can have more clear expectations that this is a normal part of the seasonal cycle when it comes to values. And as long as that general trend where supply and demand is below that 6-month inventory mark, then you know that this is a normal ebb and flow of the markets. So when we overlay the May to July window, this next 90 days, we can see what's going to happen, right? We should, we're in this end of the seasonal cycle where, we should be peaking. And so from May to July, even though we're at the highest levels in history, where the median sales price just hit $1.1 million last month, I would expect that sometime between now and July, homes they should continue to climb a little bit higher and potentially peak for the highest levels of this year. So to recap, San Diego is in a strong seller's market with only 1.7 months of inventory. Home values will continue trending up until inventory exceeds that 6 months worth of supply. And from now through July, I would expect that homes will, sit on the market for 13 days, maybe a little bit more, and homes will sell for 100.2% or more of their list price, meaning whatever the sellers are asking for, they should get slightly more, and that the median sales price will climb higher than its current all-time high record of 1.1 million and hit its peak for the year sometime in this next 90 days. All right, thank you so much for going through the San Diego housing market with me for May 2024. If anyone you care about could benefit from this information, please just share this video using that share button below. Again, my name's Jesse Morrison, and if you're looking to make a move, whether you're 9 days or 9 months out, use that link in the description section to book your free call directly on my calendar. That way we can, talk about your next best steps to making that happen in today's market. Otherwise, if you're just looking for more information at this time, I recommend that you check out this video that YouTube thinks that you should watch next. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. That way you can keep up with everything about San Diego real estate and our housing market.